Big Bang Theory was invented by Belgian astronomer George Latimer. Latimer conceived this mass to be no more than a few light years in diameter. At the very least, that would be 2 light years, or 12 trillion miles. So at first, the dot that exploded was 12 trillion miles across that exploded. In 1965, they reduced that figure to 275 million miles. Then they reduced it to 71 million miles. In 1974, they said, oh no, the Big Bang, the thing that exploded was only 54,000 miles across. In 1983, they said it's a trillionth the diameter of a proton. Now we're getting tiny. Whew. Now they're saying nothing exploded and made everything. I can't think of too many things dumber than this, but that's what they believe, okay? The universe burst into something from absolutely nothing, zero, nada. As it got bigger, it became filled with even more stuff that came from absolutely nowhere. How is that possible? Ask Alan Guth. His theory of inflation explains everything. Well, Alan Guth said the observable universe could have evolved from an infinitesimal region. That means a little bitty tiny dot. It's then tempting to go one step further and speculate that the entire universe evolved from literally nothing. Then the textbook will say, it spun faster and faster. Now, this may be a galaxy formation. You may be right that but I'll show you in a minute, this has to apply to the whole universe. They're saying the nebula began to rotate and gradually built up speed. It spun faster and faster. They do teach the universe was spinning. You have to. All of the planets and stars are spinning, and the Earth is round and it does spin. But where did this initial motion come from? Called angular momentum. And I tell the story how I was on the airplane going to California and I talked to the professor from Berkeley. And I asked him if Berkeley had a merry-go-round because he could not answer the question, where did the matter come from, or the laws, or the energy. I said, do you have a merry-go-round? And he said, no, they don't have one at Berkeley. And by the way, you need one at Berkeley to teach some basic fundamental science 101. Put kids on the merry-go-round, get it spinning. You get up to a certain speed, the kids eventually fly off the merry-go-round. When they fly off, they will be spinning the same direction as the merry-go-round was going. If it's going counterclockwise, they'll be spinning counterclockwise until they encounter resistance, like a tree or a telephone pole. That's because of a law called the conservation of angular momentum, which is what my story was about and what you're accusing me of lying about. Angular momentum would have caused the sun to spin very rapidly. Actually, our sun spins very slowly, while the planets move very rapidly around the sun. In fact, although the sun has 99% of the mass of our solar system, it has only 2% of the angular momentum. This pattern is directly opposite to the pattern predicted for the nebular hypothesis from the book The Origin of the Solar System. Well, let's see if it gets any better in 92. Conservation of angular momentum, the ultimate origin of the solar system's angular momentum, remains obscure. How did our solar system get spinning? We don't know. Angular momentum is one of the detailed problems is then to explain how the sun itself acquires 99.9% of the mass, but only 2% of the angular momentum. They've known about this problem for a long time. They've also known that Venus, Uranus, and possibly Pluto rotate backwards from the other 6 planets. This is a problem. All 8 planets in the solar system orbit the sun in the direction the sun is rotating, which is counterclockwise, when viewed from the sun's north pole. 6 of the planets rotate about their axis in the same direction. The exceptions, the planets' retrograde rotation, Venus and Uranus. This is confusing. They're spinning backwards to the other planets. We have some theories about the spin of Venus may have pulled into sync with Earth. Unfortunately, they don't really work, at least not yet. They don't know how this happened. We haven't exactly learned to decipher the clues. The theory of the origin of planetary rotation is currently slightly confused. These are quotes I've used in my seminar for a long time. I still stand by them. If you accrete planets, the word accrete means like a bunch of dust gets together and sticks together, okay, the accretion. To form a uniform disk of planetesimals, prograde rotation just can't be explained. Why did one of them end up going backwards? The simulated bombardment leaves a growing planet spinning once a week at most, not once a day. There are 181 known moons in our solar system. 113 of them have irregular orbits. At least 94 are spinning backwards, according to wikipedia.org. So, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune have moons orbiting in both directions. The angular momentum problem is serious for those who believe in the stupid Big Bang Theory. Triton, the largest natural satellite of the planet Neptune, was discovered in 1846 by an English astronomer. It has a retrograde orbit. Even the whole orbit is going backwards. How do you get a whole moon going backwards around the planet? The galaxies are spinning. I don't think anybody argues with that. The stars in the middle go faster than the stars at the outside. If they were billions of years old, they should not have these spiral arms on them, but spiral galaxies exist all over the sky. Hundreds of trillions of them. Spiral galaxies. There shouldn't be galaxies out there at all. And even if there are galaxies, the problem of explaining the existence of galaxies has proved to be one of the thorniest in cosmology, the dark side of the universe. Galaxies must have condensed out of the gases expanding from the Big Bang. Details of the formation of galaxies are still highly uncertain. Maybe God did it. NASA's claim that there are hundreds of thousands of stars forming was based on a mistake, the egg star formation theory. It's not true. A few stars were there, and 85% of the pillars had too little dust to support star formation. The new findings also highlight how much astronomers still have to learn about star formation. There are no star nurseries. Nobody's seeing stars form. There are spiral galaxies. You can get we got a telescope. Where's our good telescope, Anna? It's up there. I can't see it with a tree in the way. Okay. There are galaxies all over the solar system. Bunches of them. Plenty. And they're spinning. Where did the spin start from? CNN, the Communist News Network, ran an article, Goofy Galaxy Spins in Wrong Direction. So I did tell the story to the Berkeley professor on the airplane, and he could not explain why some of the planets two of the planets are spinning backwards, and some of the moons are spinning backwards. It does, the prograde rotation goes against the Big Bang Theory. Now, was the whole universe spinning? I think it had to be. How did the universe come by its angular momentum? I typed this in today, about an hour ago, thenakedscientist.com. Said, hi, thanks for the show. I find it totally fascinating. It seems the universe is full of angular momentum, which means everything's spinning. Planets revolve about and orbit stars. Stars revolve and orbit galaxies. Even subatomic particles are spinning. Okay. Answer. Oh, question. Yeah, the rest of the question. Yet the origin of the universe was the Big Bang, where everything exploded outward from a point source. As I understand it, there's a law of conservation of angular momentum, saying it cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. So I am puzzled, where did all the angular momentum come from? Somebody from Portugal asked the question to the Naked Scientist. Brilliant question. The answer is, there's a growing number of physicists who actually believe the universe once spun, rotated very early on in its history, making very early galaxies spin. If the initial dot was spinning, then all the pieces flying off would spin, and they are all spinning, so the assumption would be the initial dot must have been spinning. So it is not a lie when I said, the Big Bang Theory states the universe began as a spinning dot. That is what they teach. So, okay. He said, this makes the story about the Berkeley professor quite dubious. Well, Andres, I'm sorry you feel that way. It is not, it's not true. Thank you for keeping your childlike imagination alive. We appreciate that. Don't ever quit being a kid. And you're doing good at it, okay? Yes. So I think you owe me an apology, though, for calling me a liar. I didn't lie. That's what they do teach about the Big Bang.